I wonder if I ever have a company that will do $1 million in sales ever. And this was, the question that I was pondering when I first started Amazon FBA way back in 2021 when I was just doing it as a side hustle. And guys, it had seemed like an insane goal, which it was because I was only doing $5,000 in sales, as you guys can see in this photo right here. But I was seeing other Amazon sellers, big sellers, doing multi-million dollars in sales each year. And fast forward to now, I did 1.5 million in sales the last year, which seems crazy, but also normal at the same time. So the question is, how did I get here so fast in such a short amount of time, and how you may be able to do the same thing? So in this video, we're gonna go over the 3 explosive strategies that I have learned from my own mistakes and experience, which you can use to benefit your own Amazon FBA business and hopefully get that $1 million in sales or even more. So let's get started. Numero uno is all about acquiring capital. So guys, in this book right here by Tillman Fertitta, Shut Up and Listen, he really emphasized, working capital is pretty much everything. It's the lifeblood for entrepreneurs and small businesses like what I have and what you may have. And if you didn't know, this guy right here, Tillman, is a business mogul who owns multiple casinos in Vegas and also the owner of the NBA team, the Houston Rockets. So this is how I found out about Tillman, because I used to live in Houston, back in 2015, 2017, and I was such a huge fan of basketball, especially the Rockets, because they were the best team in the league at that time and best record of all. And of course, naturally, I would watch every single game, and this guy was always courtside showing the camera like, who the heck is this guy? So anyway, in the book, Tillman really advises how, capital is the lifeblood of everything, and you gotta manage that cash flow when you are first starting a business. And literally, he says the importance of capital is the difference between success or extinction, aka bankruptcy. And many brand new business owners or entrepreneurs only see the simple idea of owning a business, right? You buy an item and you sell, and that's pretty much it, right? Very simplified version of what we have an understanding. But the truth is, this is way more complicated than that. Let me explain to you guys. So with Amazon, let's say you purchase a product today that you put in your credit card. So what's gonna happen next? It takes about 3 to 5 days to get that delivered to your house, apartment, your warehouse, wherever it may be. So that's almost a week since you had purchased the product first. And once you send it to Amazon's warehouse, that checking process can really depend, it can be from 1 to 2 weeks on average. So with that, you're already 3 weeks in from the first date of purchase of your products to possibly being live on Amazon.com, hoping for a customer to purchase. And with you using your credit cards, you only have a week left to pay that bill off and basically, sell your products at the same time. So this is where working capital is so important, because it just gives you the room, or pretty much the pressure, to sell your products that you had purchased at a good price, and you're not forcing it to sell at a possibly a lower price because you have to pay the credit card off immediately. Another huge lesson that I have learned from this book and used in my own business is to get more capital even if I don't need it, because there's a saying that goes around that banks will lend you money if you don't need it, but once you actually need money, the bank somehow sense it and they're just not gonna lend you money or simply deny you. Crazy how that works. And yeah, you basically just want to load up on dry powder even if you don't need it, but at least you have that capital in reserves in case you do need it, if you find more inventory and any opportunity that might come along your way. And guys, one of the easiest way to expand your capital when you're first starting off is to take advantage of the 0% business credit cards available from different banks. And I've used this strategy myself so many times that it's still, so powerful, because you're not incurring any interest or having the pressure to pay off that card in full every single month. You literally have a year at 0%. And just to share with you guys, my favorite 0% card of all time is the Chase Business Inc. Unlimited. And one cool thing about this card is that A, they give you such a huge limit with Chase, and B, you can actually have multiple ink cards, right? I think I've had like 3 so far. The same card 3 times with 0%. And the best part about it is you can actually merge all your credit card limits. So if one expires, you can merge it to another card and to another card to kind of create that bigger limit hypothetically. And guys, another one that is such a huge sleeper is the American Express Plum. Most people talk about the gold, the platinum, but this one is by far the best one because this Plum card right here gives you 60 days to pay off your credit card instead of the normal 30 days. So it literally gives you more time in order to, sell your product. So if you have the normal 30 days, guess what? You have another 30 days to sell it off, and that should give you enough time to sell that products without paying any interest. So that's why this is such a good card in terms of cash flow. And guys, of course, you already know the benefits, the cherry on top, the points that you get, the cashback, all in all. So yeah, that's another reason to consider of taking advantage of these credit cards available. Just keep in mind that you do have to pay some payments off each month. It's not like you have a year to pay off the whole thing. You do have to pay it off a little bit each month, whatever the minimum is. So just double check on that. And guys, if you are enjoying this video so far, please hit that thumbs up button. It'll help our channel here with the YouTube algorithm. And if you want to learn more about Amazon FBA, definitely consider hitting that subscribe button. All right, number 2 strategy is the 1% rule. So in order to sell more, guess what? You're gonna need to have more inventory in your business to sell more, right? It only makes sense. And you just learned and understood the importance of capital. So what we need to do next is to buy inventory that is in the 1% BSR, or known as best sellers rank. So the 1% rule pretty much ensures that the product you're buying is going to sell in a lot of quantities and also at a faster time. And this is why it's so powerful to stick to this rule. And all in all, knowing that your product's going to sell no matter what is this going to give you more confidence and keeping the momentum in your business to keep on going. And hopefully that will help you, motivate you to scale it overall. It's like, have you ever noticed when you are, playing sports and you're the one winning, right? It seems like you have so much unlimited energy, or it could be like video games, you just have so much energy. But in the other hand, if you're the one that's losing, aka not winning, you just don't have any energy, no motivation. And it works the same way as business. And that's where the momentum is so powerful to continue seeing sales in your Amazon FBA business. Then it motivates you to keep on going, and you have the energy to source more products, to pack more products, and all in all, more effort and focus to grow your business. So guys, this is what I mean sticking to the 1% BSR here. The software that I use to make this super easy is Seller Amp. It's a Google Chrome extension that gives you a lot of data when you are looking at a product on Amazon.com. So we have this pretty much a gibbet, I think, that goes on the Crocs, right? And you can see right here, this is Seller Amp feature. And if you go down here, it connects with your Amazon seller account to know that if you can sell this product or not, right? You don't have to go multiple tabs or check with the Amazon.com to make sure. But yeah, it says I'm eligible to sell here. The BSR, see, this is where the 1%, this is where you want to stick into it. So if you see under number that's not from the 1%, then why waste time sourcing it, right? Like if it's in the 1%, you can see how many times it sells per month right here, 50 plus, and depending on the season, for example, like Christmas, it can definitely sell more, right? So, but at least you have an idea that it sells 50 plus each month, and you can even see the competition, how many stocks there are having in their stores. Number 3 strategy is to use leverage. So all capitals come in shapes and forms and all that stuff. And one thing we just had talked about earlier was, credit card and capital. And that is one form of leverage where we are using the bank's money instead of our own money, right? But in this strategy, what I'm talking about specifically is using labor as a leverage. And Naval Ravikant talks about this as the oldest form of labor way back in the slaves' day. Like you have the king, the pharaoh, then they use labor, capital, aka the slaves, to build their pyramids, statues, and all that crazy stuff. But with Amazon Business, that means we are going to be hiring an employee or a virtual assistant to help with it, doing, tasks that we simply do every single day, which allows us to free up our time to focus on bigger, higher tasks in terms of how we can grow and scale our business. And have you ever noticed, and I'm sure you've noticed, because I noticed this all the time when I was, working my 9 to 5. I was working at a car dealership, and I always see like the big boss of the dealership just sitting in this, glass office, right? But what actually he's doing is not just sitting there, he's actually thinking what he gets paid for, the big bucks, to make the big moves for the dealership, right? To what he can think of in order to make sales and sell more cars. That's what he gets paid off, not selling cars themselves and doing the contract and going and test drives, right? Like that's the salesman's job. So his job is to think of ways to do that, and you need to put yourself as a business owner to think of the higher activities in your business. What you can outsource is finding leads every single day, like what I have sourced. You can outsource your prepping, which means you can work with a prep center, which I do as well. So those are definitely two labor leverage that you could start using in order to grow faster. And in terms of getting the right VA, it's definitely a question and definitely a video itself. How we can get into that is, you can go to onlinejobs.ph. I've used that website for such a long time, and hired my Amazon employee there, my video editor, my full-time video editor who's editing this video. Hi Ann, how are you? So yeah, that's such a good website that I definitely recommend for you guys to start in order to hire your first one. And it can seem daunting at first because, if you've never hired someone or assigned a task for someone before, you might not know what to do, but it's a lot simpler than what it seems like, once you start really doing it. And when I first approached to teach my, employee, my virtual assistant, was basically just shadowing what I'm doing now, right? Like I can either do a recording using Loom or just go into a call with them, like a Zoom call or a Discord call, and literally break it down with them or explain what you do in your day-to-day. And the biggest question that, would help you, I think, with this is to really ask, like, what would be the one or two things that if someone else gets to do it and I get to free my time would really move the needle in terms of my business. And yeah, for me, it was the bottleneck was, having more time to find more leads. And while I was working to get more capital for the business, at least I can come home, buy more leads because of my employee. And how the cycle in terms of Amazon is like, when you first start, right, it's so hard to find leads, but it comes to a point that you'll kind of master sourcing or have your own way of sourcing, that you have enough leads, but not enough capital. So that's the next problem once you start to scale. So that's where you really need to focus your attention and have someone else help you find leads and kind of free up your time. And as a rule of thumb and estimates, if you wanted to, for example, get into $100,000 in sales each month, that would have to mean you were going to have to spend at least 50,000 or more on inventory and make sure they are ready on Amazon.com for customers to purchase, right? So that's why, you can certainly do it yourself, but it's going to require a lot more work. But if you want to do it, work smart and hard at the same time, definitely use leverage labor. So guys, hopefully that was helpful in terms of having an understanding overall on how you can grow your own business. And if you guys want to learn how to source better in terms of wholesale, definitely check this video out right here. I go over how to contact brands and suppliers. And if you haven't yet, join our Discord group below and sign up for the newsletter for more Amazon tips. Thank you guys. See you in the next one.